Alright, the next story quest is The Darkness Below, given to us by Alphino, still in Ralger's reach, with Arnvald at his side. Got a bunch of treasure chests. Item level 3 fucking 70? Excuse me, what? But they're accessories. Still. Damn. The news of Doma and Alamigo's liberation has kindled the flames of revolution in every corner of the Empire. I hear the imperial province of Dalmasca has already risen up in rebellion, which means the Garleans must surely have their hands full. What better time than now to indulge in such a diversion? Tell us, Arnvald, have we any clues as to where we might begin our search? Well, judging by how the other treasure hunters fared, nosing about the palace isn't like to get us anywhere, so we'll probably need to ask around. Would that be another way of saying no? Well, yes. I see. In that case, I shall pay a visit to the Allied archivists and request access to the records seized from the Imperials. The Garleans are meticulous about such things. If they uncover the trove during their occupation, the event is certain to have been recorded. In the meantime, the two of you can track down those who worked as palace servants and officials in Theodoric's day. Given that they would have been at least 20 at the time, you will be looking for people who have seen 40 summers or more. Anything they can tell you about the king and his bloody deeds may prove useful, so be sure to listen well. Arnvald, pray try your luck in the fringes and the peaks whilst Mercy makes the rounds in the Alamigan Quarter. Ha! And there I was thinking I was the party leader. Not that I mind, of course. Let's be about it, eh? We can meet afterwards at Guilebard's Gate. Okay. And off we trot. Any new plus quests happen after that? And still just 6 here. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. We have... I can't teleport. I can. There's a teleport. 271. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Alright, we're in the Alamigan Quarter. Speak with this middle-aged Highlander. In the palace? No, not me, lass. Surely you've heard stories of the Mad King. He used to hold public executions up on the divine audience. Yeah, I read that right. Anyone, and I mean anyone, suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. Suffice it to say that I stayed as far away from the palace as possible. Understandable, my dude. That's... yeah. Mature maid. You want to hear of an old maid's stories, do you? Aye, well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. We'd only see his royal majesty when he deigned to attend the executions he'd ordered, and after a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. They say he started seeing assassins in every shadow, and wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered work there as a royal servant once, but the mere thought of it left me in a cold sweat. Alright, 2 out of 3 down. Go to the next red circle and search for the talking icon. Talkie talk icon. Retired Rogadin. I served at the palace at the pleasure of King Theodoric, and lived to tell the tale. One of the palace guards I was. Truth be told, it was a dark chapter in my life, and one I'd sooner forget. Hardly a night went by when we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which, of course, we were under orders to ignore. So we'd stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. If you're hell's-bent on finding out what happened in the palace, head down the street here and ask old Ernold. He was the king's head scribe. Alright. Head a little bit to the northeast. I can't fly yet. Okay, that's fine. Here's Ernold. Yes, I am Ernold. What do you want with me? You will have me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. Yet if Alamigo is to move forward, we must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well, I shall tell you what I remember. I take it you know of Theodoric's paranoia and the public executions of his kinsmen. Those were terrible enough, but in his last days the king's fevered mind settled upon an even grislier method of disposal, which only a chosen few were unfortunate enough to witness. His Majesty ordered the court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family, a magic which transformed them into fiends of hideous aspect. The resulting monstrosities were then cast into the darkness below the palace. Even now my sleep is troubled by nightmares. If others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share his madness, then mayhap it is a kindness that the monarchy ended with him. Right. Arnvold happens to be in the very western entrance to the what's this place called? The Alamegan Quarters, something like that. It's on my map somewhere. The Alamegan Quarter, yeah. Yeah. Arnvold and Elfino, what's up, boys? Cutscene. Talk so I don't have to? Yeah, I had a feeling you wouldn't. Okay. Since we're all here, why don't we share what we've learned? Allow me to begin, then. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures, and found precisely none. It is just possible, I suppose, that a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of the trove's discovery, hoping to enrich himself, but I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay secret for long. I conclude that our prize either does not exist, or that the Imperials somehow overlooked it. That's not helpful at all. But what of you, Mercy? Were your investigations any more fruitful? You explain what we learned? Turned into monsters? And what could he mean by this darkness beneath the palace, I wonder? I met an old man in Alagiri who spoke of the palace's subterranean prison, but he said naught of cursed abominations. The Imperial archives were also silent on the subject of fiends inside the palace grounds. Could this scribe fellow have been spinning her yarn, do you think? Did you believe him, Mercy? His fears seemed genuine, or he may have been lying. Genuine, I'm going with. If he was afraid, that does lend credence to the tale, though I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Do not be so hasty. Ernald's anecdote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden, but ere I share my theory, there's a matter I would clarify. Arnvold, you spoke of light-hearted adventure, but I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure? It wasn't all pretense, I swear it, but you're right. My father was in the Imperial Army, a man of Garlean blood. I trust you know what I mean when I say that my Alamegan mother did not welcome my arrival. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that a spot on my skin was an emerging third eye, like the kind you see in pure-blood Garleans. My mother did not care for this taunting reminder of my heritage, and took up a knife. War paint serves to cover the scar. He's the man I've described in the past as having a white painted X on his face. In the end, she turned me out into the street, and I was left to haunt the alleyways of Alamigo, a feral child who got what he needed through begging, cunning, or worse. The best I can say about the years that followed is that I survived, but I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually I left the city behind me and joined a group of refugees bound for the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring, and that road led me into the company of the Scions. There's a picture of him with Menphelia. I tell you this so that you understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel on ordinary folk for a measly crust of bread. With Theodoric's gold, I could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Thank you, Arnvold, and I apologize. That cannot have been pleasant to recall, but I felt it best to be clear in our intentions. Well, Mercy, are you content to surrender the treasure to Arnvold's noble cause and claim the thrill of adventure as your reward? You nod. Then I should be glad to tell you that my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's Trove. If you are minded to hear it. Of course I am, dude. Fending coffers mean tank. Slaying means melee DPS. Aiming means ranged physical DPS. Healing means obvious. And casting is ranged magical DPS. With the inclusion of red mage, even though It's like a mixture. It's time now. So, Dragoon has 3 under 280. I'm looking at accessories only. Paladin has 4 under 280. I can explain the low. Yeah. White Mage has 5 under 280. And Red Mage has 3 under 280. So it's between Paladin and White Mage for this accessories thing. And I'm probably going to go with Paladin specifically because tank gear for me is the trump all. And it's close, like White Mage does fine. My White Mage is great. Could be better, obviously, but we'll see if I get another accessory set later. But let's talk to Arenvald. Skip through this cutscene because we've already had it. And choose Fending. Item level 370 coffer. And for the heck of it, let's make sure I jump over Paladin. I don't think it matters, but I want to make sure. Use the chest. We do indeed get 4 pieces. So we get earring, necklace, bracelets, bracelets, and 1 ring. Cool, that's fine. So earring goes from 273 to 370. That's a 97-point jump if you weren't doing the math there. That's ridiculous. Necklace goes from same 97-point jump. Even bracelet goes from 300 to 370, and the 1 ring goes from 270 to 370, so it's a 100-point jump. My new Paladin set, I think it's going to be 315 according to that number I just saw. Yep. I have a 315 average, which is 30 points higher than the next lowest. Red Mage and Dragoon are both 285. Ridiculous. That also did away with all of the materia I had set to these pieces, so whatever, but I'll get them back. Actually, you know what? Quest is over. Video's basically over, but I'm going to get them back now. So let me jump. So that was get determination back from this one. Get tenacity back from this one. Get crit back from this one. And lastly, get... Where's my Paladin ring that I had? Did it not have a materia on it? I think it was the skill speed one, right? So my Dragoon... Yeah. So it's this one. Okay. Okay, sorry. Quest over. Video now over. We'll see you next time for the next quest, which will be right away. Later.